Hey, welcome. Today we're going to take a look at a very serious problem you might be having. You are an author and you are not sure how to sell your book from your website. Or you're a website designer and your author's asked you, how do I sell this book from my website? Well, this video is going to take a look at my top 3 favorite options and why you might want to use either one or not use them. So a few assumptions before I jump in. Obviously, guys, it makes sense that you must have a book completed. So your book from beginning to end, from cover design through to typesetting, in ebook conversion must be ready and available for the world. The second assumption is going to be that you are published online. So not just having a physical book, um, but also having a digital version available online. It makes sense to be in the biggest ebook store in the world, being Amazon.com as well, for reasons I'm going to chat about in a little bit. And the third thing is that you have a functioning website. So I'm assuming that you have a website available. If you don't, one of the technologies that is my favorite is using a WordPress website. But the assumption is you've got your domain, you've got your website, and all you need to know is how to link that book to the site or the best way to do it. So a couple of big things that I want to chat about before I get too deep into the details. A couple of core concepts that kind of explain everything else further down the line. So the first thing I want to chat about is the concept of leverage, doing more while using less. So the advent of ebooks and the advent of things like print on demand means that there are smarter ways to sell your book as an author. So the old days of having boxes of books and using a website to maybe tell people, you would like to order a copy and I'm going to ship it to you. I don't want to give any advice based on that. Basically, my advice is going to center around the use of ebooks because obviously once an ebook is created, it can sell ad infinitum, meaning as many times as possible. So yeah, I will explain how an author can sell physical books to readers from a website and print and ship, but just know that it's not the best leverage way to make an income being an author. And the second thing is print on demand, which is essentially a technology which allows one reader anywhere in the world to order one copy of your book, have it printed and shipped to them wherever they might live without you, the author, needing to lift a finger. So print on demand technology is possibly best exemplified, God, I hope that's the right word, by Amazon. So Amazon recently has opened its doors to authors saying, we will sell your paperback to readers. All you have to do is give us the cover file and the interior PDF file, and they must be exact measurements that we give you, and then we will sell this paperback book around the world for you. Now, doesn't that sound like a much smarter way to spend your time than printing out boxes of books and taking care of printing and shipping? It's going to help you a lot, I'm not going to lie. Now, one of the next big concepts, which I encounter a lot here in my home country, South Africa, is the concept of PDF versus ebook, because a lot of people walk in the door saying ebook when they're really speaking about PDF. Now there's, I think, 2 core differences I like to bring up about PDF versus ebook. The one is PDFs don't reflow to fit a different screen size well, meaning PDFs tend to look better on a bigger screen, but on a smaller screen, they look cuck. So the thing with the PDF is, again, bigger screen good, smaller screen not so good, where an ebook is reflowable. So I'm speaking about the most common ebook formats. They are reflowable, meaning they shape to fit the different screen sizes. So big screen, small screen, tablet, phone, computer, the book will always look great. The second big difference, I think, is that true ebook formats, the reflowable EPUB or MYeBook versions, are easier to monetize from big retailers like Amazon, like Apple, like Google. So typically the files that you give to these big shops will not be the PDF file. It's going to be one of the true ebook formats, being EPUB or MYeBook. So they are easier to monetize. However, for an author selling a book from a website, for example, often you want to stick to the PDF version. And why? It's because you do not want to be giving tech support to readers who call you going, I've bought the EPUB, I've got the EPUB, what do I do with it? How do I read this book? Now, You could be the author on the phone explaining the concept of side loading to your new customer, or you could just stick with the PDF version. So again, there is a big difference between the PDF and the true ebook formats, EPUB and MYeBook. When you sell from a website, generally to avoid tech support, PDF is going to be your favorite format. The next thing is foot traffic. Now, foot traffic out the gate is probably one of the biggest reasons why an author doesn't go and sell directly from a website, because Amazon, again, we're going to focus on Amazon being the biggest ebook store in the world, is they've got a hell of a lot of customers, probably a hell of a lot more than your website has. And so it's the equivalent of getting your book into a busy bookshop. Now, why wouldn't you want your book in a busy bookshop? Even if you intend to sell from your website, what harm could it be having the book available in Amazon, even if it's just on the chance of organic sales or people finding your book via browsing? So foot traffic is one of the biggest reasons why Amazon wins this argument a lot of the time, where they just have so many customers browsing the shelves that why wouldn't you want your ebook there, where your website is going to have people visiting, but chances are a lot less than Amazon. The next thing is going to be Amazon's algorithms. So in a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy, when you sell better on Amazon, Amazon's internal ranking system, or the sales rank, it increases. Basically, the number changes, and when your sales rank is higher, you tend to appear on a lot more internal lists within Amazon, being the top 100 best-selling or the 100 most popular books, for example. And it tends to be self-fulfilling, meaning once you're on that list, you sell a lot more books. So Amazon, because it's the biggest, the algorithms have the most effect compared to other smaller stores. And again, just by keeping all your ebook sales through Amazon, you are aiming for the hope of getting that viral take on your book, selling as many books as possible, appearing on a list because of it, and then the sales take off because of that. So the final concept I want to touch on very quickly is exclusivity with Amazon. So when you're putting your book through Amazon, Amazon says, hey author, would you like to be exclusive with me digitally? So not the paperback, but only the ebook. And if you say yes, guys, it's not a permanent commitment, it's a 90-day commitment, but it gives you certain benefits like earning better royalties from certain territories. You appear on certain book lists that you would not have appeared on within the Amazon ecosystem. And it also gives you some cool marketing tools. Now, marketing tools like making your book available for free or making it available at a discounted price for a period of up to 5 consecutive days, and you would not have access to this if you didn't promise exclusivity. So giving Amazon the right for at least 3 months to sell your ebook exclusively means that you get access to these cool features. So let's jump in to our list. Now, the top 3 methods I recommend my authors use when selling the ebook. Number 1 is by far my favorite, and that is just link directly to Amazon. So have a dedicated book landing page. In other words, you're not directing people necessarily to your homepage because they get distracted and they get lost. But your website.com/book is a dedicated book landing page where it features the front cover, it features the book blurb, and then as the user or as the website visitor scrolls down, there's a nice big purchase button in front of them, and that then takes them to Amazon. So it's a text hyperlink at the easiest. You can go fancy and get a iframe embed code, which is a little too advanced for this video, but just know that there are fancier ways to embed and point people from your website directly to Amazon. So the why you would want to do that is it takes away any risk of tech support. So when people go to Amazon, they swipe their credit card, they get the book, it gets delivered to their Kindle, and nobody complains. It's a seamless transaction. It's, I think, the one-click delivery. They probably patented that delivery name at least. And essentially it means that it's a damn seamless transaction from clicking purchase to a delivery to your Kindle. And you don't have to worry about tech support. The book ends up on the Kindle, poof, magic. The other reason is obviously we've discussed the foot traffic benefits of Amazon. So it's better having your book in Amazon just because of the foot traffic, as well as the algorithm things that we spoke about earlier as well. So it's a seamless transaction. You stand a chance of being called, an Amazon bestseller if you appear in the top 100 published lists of your category, for example. So it's a very simple, quick. There's no cost. You aren't paying a website designer much, if anything, to make that link. In fact, you really should be able to make that link yourself on your own website. So the question is, why wouldn't you? Why would some authors not go this route? So the biggest one is, well, you are giving Amazon a cut of your pie. So at most with Amazon, you earn up to 70% royalty rates. That means Amazon is taking 30% away from you. Now, the other methods tend to give a better royalty rate to the author, meaning you earn more money. So I see it as a bit of a payment, for the benefit of getting the seamless transaction and the foot traffic. You're going to give Amazon a bit of your pie. But yeah, some authors who want to earn the most amount of money from each sale, then this might not make sense. The other thing is Amazon doesn't tell you sold a book. It's a system where you have to log on and actually monitor. So there's no active email that goes out and goes, hey author, you've got a sale. Essentially, it's a passive system where Amazon has reports you have to log on to and see, and they tell you you've sold a book. Great. They don't tell you who bought it. They don't give you any useful marketing information about the book. They don't say, David bought it, he lives in South Africa, and here's his email address, because that's going to be gold for marketing purposes down the line. So they don't tell you anything like that. You have to log on, see the sale, be happy with the sale, but there's nothing useful marketing-wise that you can take from that, each transaction. So my verdict is, it's a very simple system. It's very cheap. I recommend it for most authors because of those two reasons. But for the author who's publishing multiple books and potentially has other cool stuff you're selling, there might be a better option. This brings us to number 2, selling direct to people from your website. So this, how it happens, is 2 or 3 main parts. The first part is naturally your website. As I mentioned, WordPress is a commonly used one. The second part is a shopping cart system. So for WordPress, I would say WooCommerce is one of the most commonly used systems. And the third thing is a payment gateway. So when someone swipes the credit card on your website, somebody has to do the smartness behind the scenes. For example, in South Africa, we use PayFast to handle that transaction behind the scenes. And then physical files are made available to the customer saying, hey, you've made the purchase, we see the money reflecting, here's the book. And typically, as we mentioned, you want to give the PDF file, not the EPUB file, again, just for tech support reasons. And that's how it happens. Now, why you'd want to do this is quite straightforward control. You control every step of this process. You have full access to customize what you say to the customer, what files they get. You're collecting every single stat possible from the name and surname and email. But if you plug Google into your website, you can get a whole bunch of more stats than you ever could through Amazon, for example. So it's absolute control. The downside of this is it does have upfront costs. So you don't just wave a magic wand and all of a sudden, your website can sell things directly. It takes someone quite a bit of time to get this set up. And you tend to, unless you're going to get your hands dirty, you're going to pay someone for that time. So there's initial setup costs. Technically, again, you would want to sell people the PDF version of your file to minimize tech support. But the biggest reason I tell an author not to go this way is purely because of the upfront costs and effort needed. And for one product, it's often not really worth it. As soon as you have a bunch of other stuff you're selling, it kind of makes sense. And for people with a bigger following, if you're well known, if you have a following, if you're a speaker, chances are there's a lot of people who would buy things you tell them to, and you've got a lot more other products than just the one book. So it's ideal for someone who wants control, but for the first-time author, most of the time, it's probably not the best solution. Now, the third option is kind of a marriage of both of the first 2 options. So it is selling from a third-party reseller. So essentially, you have a website, you have the book landing page, and instead of, for example, sending the reader to Amazon to make the purchase, you would send them to a place like payhip.com. Now, Payhip is my favorite way, but there are a whole bunch of competitors to Payhip. So just do a bit of Googling, and you're going to see a bunch of other people doing similar things. But essentially, Payhip I know, and I've used it a bit. I know it quite well. So a person from your website would click and be directed to Payhip, where they would make the purchase. And essentially, the reason you would want to do this is PayHip gives you really good royalty payments. In other words, you are paying them per transaction. So there's no initial upfront fee, but typically you're paying up to 5% of each sale goes to the platform itself. But that means you get 95%, which is a lot sexier than what Amazon would be paying you, as an example. Not as good as the 100% that the selling direct would get you, but for facilitating the transaction and providing a seamless point of sale, I think it's worth it. So essentially, a visitor would click on your purchase button, be taken through to this other platform where they would make the payment, enter credit card information. PayHip would then deliver whatever you told it to. So it's not a smart platform. Essentially, it says, what are you selling? And you go, well, I'm selling this PDF version of my book, for example. And essentially, once a transaction is approved, PayHip goes, okay, visitor, here's what you paid for. The benefit is it does collect people information. So marketing information that you could use going forward, the third-party platform like PayHip does collect. It does tell you there's been a transaction, so it's not kind of passive like your Amazon system. It tells you there's been a transaction. It tells you who purchased the book, and it tells you what the email address is, as well as some other cool analytics stats that are kind of fun to play with if you don't mind getting your hands dirty. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. There is no foot traffic, so you're not getting the millions of customers that will be browsing the Amazon store, but you are getting a better royalty system and you are getting some pretty cool stats. So for someone not looking to go the whole 9 yards, I wanted to say full retard, but for someone who wanted to go the whole 9 yards, you would sell direct, but for the nice halfway mark, selling through a platform like PayHip is going to be a really quick, really simple option. And if you're selling the PDF version, again, your tech support should not be too bad. So guys, welcome to the end of the video. We mentioned the 3 methods to sell to people. We mentioned why each one is good and why each one might suck as well. So there is no right answer. There's only the right answer for you. I would love to give more clarification on any points I missed. Obviously, let me know down below if I can, add anything or clarify anything. But otherwise, thanks for the time. I'm Dave from MYeBook, and my partner in crime on that side is Max, the author cuddle companion. I hope you stay awesome, and I'll see you with the next video.